Let's talk penalty enforcement, okay? Picture this. The quarterback takes a snap, throws a pass 20 yards downfield. It's caught by his receiver, who's immediately tackled. Net 20-yard gain. Or quarterback hands off to a running back, busts through the lines, he gets exactly 20 yards. Hey, they're the same difference. He got 20 yards either way, right? Offense is glad to pick up 20 yards. Defense is disappointed. But are they really the same? When it comes to penalty enforcement, there's a big difference. Suppose on that first play, pass for 20-yard gain, there's a foul for, say, defensive holding, 10-yard penalty. Well, because it's a loose ball play, that is to say the ball got loose behind the line of scrimmage, which is a forward pass play, that penalty would be enforced from the previous spot. So if you want to pick up the 20-yard gain, you have to decline the penalty. But while I'm at it, suppose it had been 4th and 30. Well, then you may want to take the penalty, even though you get less net yardage to get the down back. You say, well, what about an automatic first down? Well, no, we don't have automatic first downs in Federation, with the exception of roughing the specialists, roughing the passer, kicker, holder, deep snapper, and scrimmage kick formation. I've told that to many broadcast groups, the announcers, and they say, oh, yeah, okay, all right. And then the next thing I hear them say, automatic first down. Well, no, we just don't have that many of them, so we're spoiled by the other rule books when we watch them. Only roughing the specialists. So get back to that play. 20-yard gain, normally you're going to decline the penalty because you don't want the penalty from the previous spot. Let's switch over to the other play. Handed off, ran for a 20-yard gain, and there was defensive holding on the play. Are we going to have to decline that penalty? No, is the answer. You're going to be able to go an additional 10 yards from the end of the run. Why? Because on a running play, the basic enforcement spot, which is where we enforce all defensive fouls, on a running play, it's at the end of the run. So we're going to go to the 20-yard end of the run and then add 10 more. That's the big difference between a loose ball play and a running play. So you can't forget about that. Now, just what is a loose ball play? For penalty enforcement, that's one of the biggest questions a referee has to ask himself at the end of a play when things are being reported to him. Was the play a loose ball play or was it a running play? Well, first of all plays in football start off as a loose ball play. Whether it's the free kick, like a kickoff, it's a loose ball play during the kick. On a scrimmage down, when the ball is snapped, the snap itself is a loose ball play. So all plays start off loose. The question is, how long does a loose ball play last? It lasts until the last loose ball occurring behind the line of scrimmage is over. The quarterback takes a snap, fades back a few yards, he's going left and right. Right now, you don't know whether it's going to be a loose ball play or a running play. He could take off running. But suppose he fumbles, okay, and then he falls on the fumble. All right, you had a loose ball play the entire down because the play ended when the loose ball ended. It's from the end of the last loose ball retroactive to the snap. So we're never going to know how long a loose ball play lasts, but there can only be one loose ball play because if it occurs, it's retroactive to the snap. On the other hand, you can have any number of running plays. If I hand off, the runner runs through the line, and beyond the line of scrimmage, he gets hit and fumbled, say 5 yards beyond the line. And his teammate scoops up the fumble and runs for another 10. That's an example of a running play followed by a second running play. Any number of running plays are theoretically possible. If the foul happens before the second run begins, then the foul relates to the first run. So the basic spot is the end of the first run. Now, I keep saying basic spot. What do we mean by that? Well, for all defensive fouls, we're going to enforce from the basic spot. On a loose ball play, the basic spot is the previous spot. Now, I've told that to different groups that are learning about the rules, and I said the basic spot on a loose ball play is the previous spot. And I'll go see them, do a JV game the next day where the quarterback takes a snap, he's scrambling a little bit, there's holding 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then they throw a forward pass. Complete or incomplete, they're going to take the penalty. And I've seen them mark it off from the line of scrimmage. Well, this is incorrect because basic spot means you're going to enforce Team B fouls from the basic spot. In the loose ball play, that would be the previous spot. A foul by the offense beyond the previous spot on a loose ball play, such as offensive pass interference, would come back to the previous spot and mark it off. A foul by the offense behind the basic spot would be a spot foul. We'd mark it off from the spot of the foul. If you watch something different on Saturday or Sunday, that's because other codes have more exceptions to their rules. But we really don't have a lot of exceptions. We have a few. But the basic rule is simple. On our loose ball play, basic spot is the previous spot, where we mark off 3 out of 4 penalties. B can foul beyond the line, B can foul behind the line. A can foul beyond the line. That's 3 situations. Or A can foul behind the line. And 3 out of those 4, we're going to go to the previous spot, the basic spot. The 4th one, the foul by the offense behind that spot, becomes a spot foul. Same principle applies on a running play, except the basic spot becomes the end of the run. So if the quarterback hands off, the running back runs for a 10-yard gain. If you have a foul by Team A behind the end of the run, it's a spot foul. If it's anywhere else, or if it's a Team B foul, it would be added to the end of the run. So it's important to know whether you have a loose ball play or a running play and how to handle that. Now, a fumble beyond the line or a backward pass beyond the line has to be beanbag because we need that spot for penalty enforcement. Now, you may say, well, he breaks through the line and he fumbles 8 yards downfield, but you see no other flags on the field, so you don't really need that spot. But that foul could happen while the loose ball is bouncing around, so we still need that spot. You need to beanbag the spot of a fumble beyond the line. Behind the line, it's not necessary for penalty enforcement purposes because the basic spot on a loose ball play is the previous spot. And whenever the ball becomes loose behind the line of scrimmage prior to a change of possession, we have a loose ball play. There's actually one exception to that. That would be an illegal forward pass, such as intentional grounding. That's considered a running play by definition. So if the quarterback scrambles a while and throws the ball into the dirt, you've got a running play, 5 yards from that spot, loss of down. Now, getting back to the loose ball play, remember we threw the pass for a 20-yard gain. Suppose you have roughing the passer. Had this many years ago before the current rule took effect. I think the quarterback threw maybe 5 20-plus yard passes that game, and he got roughed 5 times. And they declined every one because a loose ball play enforced from the previous spot, and they wanted the greater yardage. But the Rules Committee realized that that was kind of unfair to the poor quarterback. So they put in an exception for roughing the passer. That's a possible exception, I guess I should say, because you have to have 3 things for the exception to apply. It's got to be complete, for a net gain and no change of team possession. If you have a completion in the backfield and he gets sacked for a loss after the completion, well, we're going to go from the previous spot for the roughing the passer because it wasn't a net gain. If we throw an interception, okay, we're going to go from the previous spot for the roughing the passer. It's complete, he gets hit, fumbles, and B picks it up, okay, we're going to go from the previous spot because B got possession. If it's complete with all those elements, net gain, now we're going to penalize from the dead ball spot. Example, quarterback throws a pass. It's complete at B's 10 beyond the line of scrimmage, and he gets tackled. Well, we're going to go from the 10 to the 5. No distance penalty. In Federation, can go more than half the distance from the enforcement spot to the goal line. Another situation. Catches the pass at B's 10, gets hit, fumbles, and the ball rolls out of bounds at B's 5-yard line. Well, now we're going to go half the distance from the dead ball spot from the 5 to the 2.5. That's how the exception is worded for roughing the passer. Suppose he gets hit, fumbles, and the ball rolls through the end zone. We don't really have a dead ball spot there, which is a clue when you think about it, because if the ball went through the end zone on a fumble, that would normally be a touchback, which would be Team B possession, which means the exception does not apply. So we're going to go back to the previous spot under the general rule, loose ball play, previous spot. So if you have the roughing the passer exception, though, we are going to tack it on. And that's the important thing about roughing the passer. Another situation that we need to know on roughing situations is that we do have automatic first downs for roughing the passer or any of the specialists. Otherwise, we do not. Can't hurt to emphasize that.